African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of October 19, 2025. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue the special military operation. Units of the North Troop Group have improved their tactical position. They inflicted damage on formations of tank, ranger brigades, airborne assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Kropovshchina, Sadki, Pushkarevka, Pavlovka, Andriivka, Kondratovka, and Varakino in the Sumy region. In the Kharkiv direction, damage was inflicted on units of heavy mechanized and motorized infantry brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements Volchansk and Dvyrchanskoye in the Kharkiv region. The armed forces of Ukraine lost over 210 servicemen, 3 armored combat vehicles, 12 cars, 2 artillery guns, including a 155mm self-propelled artillery installation Bogdana, a launch system of the HIMARS multiple launch rocket system produced in the USA, and 2 warehouses of material resources. Units of the West Troop Group occupied more advantageous lines and positions. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 7 mechanized assault brigades, a battalion of UAV systems of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 3 territorial defense brigades, and 2 National Guard brigades in the areas of the settlements Petrovka, Kurilovka, Nechvolodovka, Shikivka, Kovsharovka, Bogoslavka, Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region, Krasny Lyman and Ostrovsko in the Donetsk People's Republic. Enemy losses amounted to up to 230 servicemen, a tank, 2 armored combat vehicles, 28 cars, and an artillery gun. 11 electronic warfare stations and 4 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the South Troop Group improved their position on the front line. They inflicted damage on formations of 5 mechanized, mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Seversky, Kramatorsk, Konstantinovka, Ivanopoli, Slavyansk, Stepanovka, and Berstok in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 205 servicemen, 2 tanks, a Kazakh armored combat vehicle, 9 pickups, a self-propelled artillery installation, as well as US-made M113 armored personnel carrier, HMMWV armored vehicle, and Max Pro armored vehicle. An N/TPQ-50 counter-battery radar station produced in the USA and 3 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the Center Troop Group, as a result of active offensive actions, liberated the settlement of Chunishino in the Donetsk People's Republic. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 2 heavy mechanized, 6 mechanized, 2 airborne assault, ranger, assault brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 Marine brigades, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Teretskoye, Grishino, Novoburgarovka, Novopavlovka, Dimitrov, Volnoy, Novonikolivka, and Krasnoarmysk in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to up to 485 servicemen, a tank, a Kazakh armored combat vehicle, 6 cars, and an artillery gun. Units of the East Troop Group continued to advance deep into the enemy's defense and liberated the settlement of Poltavka in the Zaporizhzhia region. Damage inflicted on formations of 2 mechanized brigades, 2 assault regiments of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Dolinka, Yegorovka, Dorozhnyanka in the Zaporizhzhia region, Alexiivka, and Privoli in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The enemy lost over 380 servicemen, 4 armored combat vehicles, 11 cars, 3 field artillery guns, and a warehouse of material resources. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted damage on personnel and equipment of mechanized, mountain assault brigades, 3 coastal defense brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Otradokomenka, Zmivka, Lvovo, Sadovo in the Kherson region, Pavlovka and Malaya Tokmachka in the Zaporizhzhia region. More than 90 servicemen, 14 vehicles, 3 artillery guns, AP-18 air target detection radar station, 2 electronic warfare stations, and an ammunition depot were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian armed forces troop groups inflicted damage on transport infrastructure facilities supporting the actions of the armed forces of Ukraine, as well as on temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations in 143 areas. Air defense means shot down 2 guided aerial bombs, 3 HIMARS multiple launch rocket system rockets of U.S. production, and 323 airplane-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 667 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 91,200 unmanned aerial vehicles, 633 surface-to-air missile systems, 25,575 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,604 multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, 30,590 field artillery guns and mortars, 44,349 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.